Okay, students, welcome back. Sorry for the interruption. Are you hearing my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So we completed Nirankari movement and Namdari, and Namdari is one of the important movement which is started by Baba Ram Singh, and they were supporters of the Khalsa also, and apart from um, this Khalsa, and uh, they opposed only one thing to use nothing is called kirpan. Okay, so instead of use of kirpan, they followed using a lati. Okay, so the Namdaris abandoned the worship of gods, goddesses, idols, graves, tombs, and also rejected popular saints along with the rituals conducted by Brahman priests. Okay, these also oppose the priestlyhood, right? Priestlyhood by Brahman. The authority of hereditary custodians of Sikh Gurudwaras was also rejected by Namdaris. The Namdaris were told to abstain from the drinking, stealing, adultery, falsehood, and the consumption of beef was strictly forbidden. Okay, so they was opposed the drinking of liquor and stealing and taking of beef like meat. Okay, so protection of cattle was one of the most ardently held values of Namdaris, and the Namdaris considered the women equal to men and initiated them through baptism and allowed them to remarry when widowed. It means they are social reformers greatly, and maybe they want to they were the important reformers want to revive the Sikhism basically, right? Like Hindu revival, they want to make Sikhism as somewhat revival. So dowries were rejected by the Namdaris, and child marriage was also forbidden. And for the men, they laid emphasis on the strength and martial qualities drawn from the teachings of Guru Gobind Singh. The Namdari vision of reconstructed Sikhism called for total reshaping of Sikh community into a militant and religious political dominion. Okay, so they want to they basically supporters of Guru Gobind Singh, and Guru Gobind Singh also a great guru want to uh, want to uh, uh, want to develop a separate location, separate region for the Sikhs, and the same ideology also followed by these Namdaris. Okay, so they always thinking that the Sikhs should be had a political domain, right? Dominion. So after the Namdaris movement, one more important movement among the Sikhs of Punjab was nothing but Singh Sabha movement. Okay, so the Singh Sabha was another prominent socio-religious movement in Punjab. The first Singh Sabha was founded at Amritsar and held its first meeting on 1st October 1873. The first Singh Sabha was founded as a result of series of events that included the unrest of the Sikh community caused by Namdaris, the speeches of Shraddha Ram, and also the Christian conversions. Okay, so these are basically they want to again they want to revive again the Sikhism, because many Sikhs are gradually converting to other religions, particularly to the Christian missionaries. Okay, so they want to stop that conversions, and these Singh Sabha had started certain reforms among the Sikh community. So the Singh Sabha was aimed at restoring Sikhism to its past purity, and published historical religious books, magazines, and journals to propagate knowledge using Punjabi as language. And as the popularity of the Sikh Sabha movement increased, more Sabhas were established in different cities. Okay, so a general Sabha was established at Amritsar in 1880 to provide a central organization to all Singh Sabhas, and it was later re-christened as the Khalsa Diwan Amritsar in April 1883. Okay, so after this Singh Sabha movement, and another important one is Radha Swami movement. So the Radha Swami movement was founded by Hindu banker Shivdayal of Agra, and Agra in 1890 in 19th century. He described God as the union between Radha is nothing but the symbolizing the soul, and Swami the master. Okay, so hence himself was a worshipper of Radha Swami. He became the first guru of the Sikh, and he was highly influenced by the teachings of Adigran, and he propounded a doctrine which contained elements of both Hinduism and Sikhism. His teachings eventually attracted disciples from across India, and by the time of his death in 1878, he had several thousands of followers. After the death of Sivadayal, the Radha Swami split it to two centers. The main center was at Agra, and new branch was started at Jaimal Singh, disciple of Sivadayal, on the banks of river Bias. And this Bias center was independent of the Agra center, and a succession of gurus after the death of Jaimal Singh. Jaimal Singh was succeeded by his disciple Swan Singh Grewal, and Sawan Singh was succeeded by Jagat Singh, and Jagat Singh nominated Charan Singh as his successor. Okay, so Radha Swami do not subscribe to the Orthodox Sikhism. They believe in the living Guru. Okay, they greet each other with the words of Radha Swami, and the temples of Radha Swami do not have the Granth Sahib. Okay, so they have no kirtan, because they believe that music diverts people's mind from the meaning of the hymns to simple enjoyment of the songs. Okay, so like all other reformers, these reform movements, these Radhaswami Satsang, sorry, Radhaswami movement, they were not supported the music, because music may divert the people minds from the spirituality. Okay, so that is the main reason why these reformers were not supported the music while in meditation uh, 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 before the God. Okay, so they only followed certain chanting of hymns only. Okay, so they are avoided following singing kirtans and other devotional songs. And Radha Swami Teaching Center upon a type of meditation practice known as Surat Shabd Yoga, and Shabd referring to a spiritual current which can be perceived in meditation as inner light and sound. Yoga is referring to the uniting of our real essence soul through an inner listening with focused mental concentration upon an inner sound, shabd, which it is maintained emanates from the Radha Swami, the Supreme Being. So it is therefore taught as the unchanging and primordial technique for uniting the soul with the supreme being via the power of Shabd. Okay, so they only followed certain Shabd sounds, not with the music. Okay, so following the practice of meditation under the guidance of spiritual reader teacher who is himself in contact with the Shabd is considered as paramount importance. Prerequisite for successful achievement of the meditation practice are a lacto-vegetarian diet, abstaining from drugs and alcohol, and maintaining a pure and moral lifestyle. Okay, so they followed such a moral food diet that they are not even take they not even favored about non-vegetarian. Okay, they purely depend on the vegetarian meat. Okay, vegetarian meal. Okay, so and they also followed such a morals that they are totally avoiding the drugs and like a taking of liquor like that. Okay, so such a pure lifestyle they followed. You can understand that. Okay, so another important reform movement. When you think about Sikh community, the only one important movement you can get or remember is Akali movement. Okay, so Akali movement or Gurudwara Prabandhak movement or Gurudwara reform movement was the most important movement when we get from these Sikh community. Okay, so Gurudwara reform movement, also called as the Akali movement, was a long-drawn campaign of the Sikhs for the liberation of their shrines or gurudwaras from the priests, Mahants. Okay, so Mahants were a priest community within the Sikh society. Okay, who had asserted property rights over Gurudwaras. Okay, they were only a priest at Gurudwaras. Mahants were a only priest at Gurudwaras, but they are capturing the property rights over Gurudwaras itself. Okay, so they want to against these Mahantis, this Akali movement has started. Okay, so at that time, there were no rules for administration of Gurudwaras, nor were qualifications prescribed for the caretakers. These Gurudwaras were looked after the Udasis, who were much Hindu as they introduced ceremonies which were against teachings of Sikhism. Okay, so under patronage of British government, the lands and the properties attached to the Gurudwaras were entered against the names of these Mahantis. Okay, so Mahants, priests. So the Sikhs claimed that the Gurudwaras were public property and the public had right to remove its agents, the Mahants, when they did not conform to wishes of the people. Okay, but the government regarded the Mahants as a legal owners of the Gurudwaras. Okay, so these Akalis who were against the Mahants, appointment of Mahants, because these Mahants were the Mahants were they were himself treated as they were the owners of the Gurdwaras, and their movement was to remove the system of Mahants from the Gurudwaras, but the government supported these Mahants because they treated them as a real owners of the Gurdwaras. Okay, so that these Akalis were started their movement against these system of Mahants. The people who hesitated against such persons were suppressed by the government. The result was Akali movement or Gurdwara reform movement, which Sikhs had to face imprisonment, suffer atrocity, and the death. Okay, so the British government eventually um, came under popular pressure and set up a committee consisting of 36 Sikh persons at instance of Maharaja Bhupinder Singh of Patiala to manage the Harmandir Sahib. Okay, so to manage Harmandir Sahib, and government appointed a committee which consists of 36 members. Okay, so but it was not accepted by the Akalis, and they made a proclamation on 15th November 1920 from the Akali Takht Amritsar, forming a committee of 175, including the 36 official nominees, designated it Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee for the management of all six shrines. Okay, so they are not accepted the committee which is appointed by the government, and they the Akalis themselves, they started a new committee called as Siroman Akali Gurudwar Prabandhak Committee, and which consists of nearly 175 members they want to manage all the six ranks. Okay, so without violating the rules of government, and they started a separate movement, a separate committee to manage all the shrines of six. Okay, so the first session of this committee held at the Akal Takht on 12th December 1920. Sundar Singh Mahajetia, Harban Singh of Attari, and Bhai Jodh Singh were elected president, vice president, and secretary respectively. Okay, so they separately, the committee separately elected president, vice president, and secretary, and they started the work. So the work of the reform of the Gurudwaras were entrusted to this committee. However, the transition of reform was not so much so smooth, where the priests were strongly encouraged or where the government actively helped them to resist mass pressure. So the priests of Amritsar, Taran Taran, and Nankana Sahib openly used violence against the unarmed and non-violent Akalis, and band of more than 106 were brutally killed by Mahant of Nankana Sahib in open daylight. The Akalis were committed to non-violence. None of them resisted the murders. Okay, so nearly this movement this movement was suppressed. The government to suppress this movement, government supported these uh, um, uh, uh, these mahants, and such mahants also followed certain violent act to suppress the movement, and such a violent activities also taken place, and nearly 1006 were killed in this movement. Okay, so within this movement, another one of the part of this movement is the Babbar Akali movement. Okay, so the Babbar Akali movement was a 1921 splinter group of militant Sikhs who broke away from the mainstream Akali movement over the latest insistence on non-violence over Gurudwara reforms. Okay, so this is a terrorist group from the Akali movement, because Akali movement was a non-violent movement, but after the death of after the loss of 1000 Akalis, and the Babbar Akali movement has started as a separate wing, okay, a terrorist group. So the militant unit was established as Sahidi Dal, Association of the Martyrs, in September 1920, later evolving into the Babbar Akali movement. By 1922, they had organized themselves into a military group and began killing informers, government officials, and ex-officials. They also published an illegal newspaper describing British exploitation of India. It was declared as unlawful association by the British in April 1923. So they used religious imaginary and discussed the loss of Sikh sovereignty in the Anglo-French Wars, which helped them enjoy popular support. The Babbar Akali movement recruited from World War One veterans dissatisfied with the broken land, grant promises, and former members of the Gadar party. Okay, so many of its members were killed in the police encounters. 67 were taken alive, and 5 were sentenced to death, and 11 to transport for for life, and 38 to 38 were to various terms of imprisonment, and Babbar Khalsa International was established in an attempt to emulate Babbar Akalis. The original Akali movement was established to peacefully get control over Gurdwaras from the hereditary priests who were accused of enriching themselves. The Akalis took vows of non-violence and observed them. However, at Tarn and Nankana Sahib in early 1921, the priests they hired security killed a number of Sikhs. This resulted in the radicalization of the people who could form the core group of the Babbar Akalis. Okay, so due to the violence which is taken place against these Akalis, this Babbar Akali movement, group of Akali movement has started. And they started certain violent activities that they are publicly killing the British officials because those are background of these Mahantis and Mahants. And they also attacking the Mahants directly, and sometimes they forcibly overthrown these Mahants from these Gurudwaras, and they followed such a violent activities that these government suppressed very quickly this Babbar movement. Okay, so Babbar Akali movement is one of the violent movement, which taken place in the society of Sikh, because the Babbar Akali movement was started by certain persons who are actively participated in Gadar movement. Okay, so you are well aware that Gadar movement was a important terrorist movement which is started by Lala Hardayal at San Francisco. Okay, so the Gadar were the real patriots who fight against the exploitation of British. Okay, so when they had certain hurdles in India, so that these revolutionaries who left India for other countries and they settled in like con- the countries USA and UK, and they started their movements from their taking help of the supporters, the NIA supporters from various countries. Okay, so Naveen,
Sir,
any doubt? You have raised a hand,
no
no?
doubts. Sir,
You have raised your hand. Have you any doubt?
no doubts, sir.
No, no. Okay, right. So this is we have 1 minute of this meeting. After 1 minute, it automatically close end the meeting. So this Gadar important meeting. Sorry, Gadar was important movement which followed such a extreme terrorist activities from the outside of Indian territories. Okay, so within the Gadar movement, the one of the important most event has taken place is nothing but Pomagata Maru incident. Okay, so one of the ship with ships which entered in Canadian territories, and the